of the best basketball, Rachel, but I still get a slight edge to Philly. But I tell you what, the Clippers are on a mission, and everyone, including myself, talked about how they didn't do well in the offseason. But guess what? Nicholas Batum has been an unsung hero. Paul George is playing some of the best basketball of his career. He's bounced back after the horrible postseason that he had. Kawhi has been Kawhi. Reggie Jackson has stepped up tremendously. And great job by Ty Lue, because these guys have bought in. They're sharing the ball. They're competing at a high level on the defensive end, and you can feel the energy. And most importantly, the thing that I've witnessed is Kawhi is starting to be more vocal. He's starting to be a better leader. I'm watching him interact with guys and talk with guys and trust guys. So the Clippers are dangerous. And guess what? If I'm the Lakers, I'm keeping a close eye on them, because they will possibly have to see them in the Western Conference, and it won't be a cakewalk, or the Clippers could possibly beat the Lakers if the Lakers are not careful.
Boy, oh boy, the Utah Jazz lose one game to the modern-day Arvydas Sabonis, and they're not even in the conversation for who's playing the best. The Jazz are playing the best basketball right now. They just had an 11-game winning streak. But in reality, Clippers, Lakers, Jazz.
Wait a minute. Weren't the Jazz number 2 in those power rankings, Zach? How can you say they're not in the conversation? They were number 2.
They were four. You're asking me who's playing the best now. The team that just had an 11-game winning streak that blew everybody away. But the Clippers are also The Clippers are also blowing people away. I mean, they killed the Kings twice. They killed the Pacers, the Magic. They are running roughshod over teams. And yeah, they look every bit the title contender that we thought they were. I picked them to win the title last year. I was wrong. I think this team has enormous potential. And Paul George is having his vengeance tour just like he said he would. And Kawhi looks like Kawhi. So the Clippers have to be really, really encouraged by how they're playing, how they've taken to some of the adjustments that Ty Lue has made to their style and their rotation. They look really, really good.
Well, look, I like what you said, Perk, about sharing the ball. Just from the eye test, watching the way they play those hockey assists, it's not just the passes that lead to the basket, but the passes that lead to the basket, to baskets that lead to the basket.
Hey,
you know what I mean?
Rachel, see, I love it when you give me this good gospel on Monday. I love it. Because, see, when you talk about that eye test and not getting caught up in the analytics, that lets me goes to know that you are sitting in front of your television and you actually watching the game.
You know I am, Perk.
That's what basketball purists do.
Absolutely.
They sit down and they watch it with their eyes, Rachel.
Well, the eye test gives you all those hockey assists, but I will say, if you dive into the analytics, you've got good numbers for the Clippers there, too. Kawhi has the 3rd highest player efficiency rating in the league this season. He's played in 17 of the Clippers' 21 games, which is also an important number, and he's averaging 34 minutes a game. So, Zach, what do you think has changed for Kawhi in his second season in L.A.?
Not that much. He's Kawhi Leonard. He's freaking amazing. He's amazing in LA. He's amazing in Toronto. He's amazing in San Antonio. His stats look about the same. His defense is as ferocious as ever. The one thing that does jump out, though, and it's interesting to monitor, we saw that dunk on R.J. Barrett earlier. Kawhi is shooting 80% at the basket this season. He's usually in the mid-60s like most people are. He's now up in LeBron territory where you're like, oh my God, he's dunking everything. He's finishing everything at the basket. Maybe it says he's healthier. Maybe it says he's feeling more pop in his legs. I don't know what it is. But if that keeps up, and the Clippers, by the way, who don't get to the rim much and who don't earn free throws, if they can get those numbers up, then they become a really scary team.
Absolutely. The thing that stands out to me the most about Kawhi, besides his leadership, is that he finally looks 100% healthy. He's playing back-to-backs. He's not taking any games off. He's driving to the basket with force, and he's elevating. And elevating above the rim, and he's looked like the Kawhi of old before the injury. And that's a beautiful thing to see. Right now, he's playing at an MVP type level too, along with Paul George. And this is the duo that we all been waiting to see. And they're playing at their peak right now and giving the Clippers something to be proud of.
It's going to be so interesting to watch. To me, just the fact that he's played in that first back-to-back and been more confident, Zach, as you say, with the way that he's just sort of moved on the court and some of the shots and dunks that he's making. You feel like he feels like he's healthier. We'll have to see as we go down to the wire here. All right, guys, up next, Lamelo Ball has had his best game of the season. That was Saturday and a win over the Bucks. So should he be starting, or is there a method to the madness here? Perk has a theory. First, though, Time for our second distant replay of the day. This date, 1995, featuring our second Nick Van Exel sighting on this very episode.
Okay.
Nick really liked February 1st. That's what I can say.
Nothing like a good left. I love watching left-handed guards play. They like position.
So come hang out. All right, Klay Thompson doing some guest announcing this past weekend for the Warriors. This was so good. Take a listen.
Checked it. Oh, mic works. Mic's hot. Man, I'm good. You're on, bro. I didn't want to do it, but then I saw this backdrop, and someone went through great lengths to make that happen, so I felt bad not fulfilling my end of the deal. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Steph makes this. How much longer until you break Ray Allen's three-point record?
I mean, you're in the booth right now, so it's your job to know these stats to be able to do the quick math.
Bob, I don't know. What do you think? 40 games?
He's 400 behind Klay.
Oh,
shoot. 2 seasons.
I'm waiting for you to say Speed Mihaluk right now.
Speed Mihaluk with the long loaf.
Shortbread and long loaf, Klay. You may have added to the play-by-play.
Watch this. Watch this. Easy now.
Shortbread.
He catched it.
What's McGruder doing over there? There's a little scuffle happening.
Talking about one.
Rodney McGruder.
Oh, no, this dude might be out the league soon. He's probably mad about that. Who knows?
Wow. Shots fired.
He's over here checking my guy. You good?
5
He's over here
Warriors.
trying to start something like he's a good player or something. It's like, bro,
Easy.
get out of here. You might be. Sorry. All right, we're done.
Easy.
We're done.
Amazing. Welcome back to The Jump. I'm Rachel Nichols, still hanging out with Kendrick Perkins, Zach Lowe. First of all, I would just like to point out when we saw Klay interviewing Steph there, see, it's not so easy to do that job, Klay, okay? He was looking down at his notes. He didn't have the right numbers. I'm just saying. I will say, however, he completely redeemed himself with the colorful way that he described Rodney McGruder on that Warriors broadcast. That is keeping it real for the fans. And unfortunately for McGruder, Draymond Green also had quite a bit to say about McGruder after the game. Let's roll that as well.
Apparently he was taking up for Wayne Ellington. When the Rodney McGruder become the tough guy of the team? Like, I don't know, man. Everybody in the league tough these days. It's crazy. I've seen a lot of tough guys this year. I don't understand it. And don't nobody do anything. Also, I think it was something that Juan said in the first or second quarter to Wayne Ellington. You ain't got nothing better to do that you still thinking about something from the first or second quarter when you weren't in the game. So apparently, Wayne Ellington must have went over to the bench. I guess he went and told Rodney McGruder because he hadn't been in the game. Yeah. I don't know, man. There's too many tough guys in this league these days for me. But I know ain't nobody scared of no damn Rodney McGruder.
I don't even know what to do with all of this. I saw someone on Twitter afterwards said that should just be Draymond's Hall of Fame speech, and we're done. Zach, whose comments stung more, Klay or Draymond's?
Well, look, if this is the price of getting unfiltered Klay Thompson, I'm willing to throw Rodney McGruder under the bus to get unfiltered Klay Thompson. I'm sorry. But I will say, this felt a little bit like bullying to me. Like, Rodney McGruder's just trying to fight and scrap for his NBA career, and Draymond and Klay are Hall of Famers, multi-time All-Stars. He let Rodney McGruder be. We don't need to go off for 5 minutes about... Did you see the Warriors broadcast put down 5 minutes per game in 4 games this season? Even the Warriors broadcast got into bullying Rodney McGruder. Poor guy. My God.
Well, I'm going to say this. I don't applaud it and I don't like it. To me, Rachel and Zach, I thought this was very corny. When you look at a guy like Rodney McGruder, who was undrafted in 2013, who's been fighting his way, went down to the G League, and is still on the roster here today in the year 2021, a guy that has to fight every single offseason, going to training camp and prove himself. And we all know how hard it is just to get to the NBA. It's even harder to stay in the NBA. And they have a 15 or 14 guy on every roster that fights for their position and be that guy on the bench. All he was doing was standing up for his teammates. And I love Klay, but he didn't. I can't roll with him on this statement that just wasn't right. And far as Draymond talking about a lot of tough guys in the league, I love Draymond, but he talked just as much as anybody. And nobody really is doing nothing outside of talking, because Draymond is not doing anything to nobody when he sees somebody outside in the offseason, outside the court when the season is over. Because I could recall the incident where Tristan Thompson had addressed him and he copped the plea. So at the end of the day, look, I don't agree with Klay's statement. I know it was good, it was funny at the time, but a guy like Rodney Magruder, who's actually fighting for his job year after year after year, and is still surviving in the league. They have a lot of guys that are on rosters like that, and I just can't roll with that statement.
Well, I respect all of that, and I do think that's important. But also, this is an issue that Rodney Magruder came over. He went toward the Warriors tunnel. In fact, there were reports afterward that the league was going to look into that because it violates some of the protocols that they have set up. And we have a league where people are constantly saying, oh, I wish it had the toughness. I wish we had the toughness of the old days in the 90s in the NBA. I'm not sure that anything that was said on the broadcast or in the post-game press conference rises to the level of sort of the back and forths and the beefs and the stuff that we saw in the old school NBA. So I don't know, sticks and stones on the words to me. And I mean, now we're going to watch the next Warriors-Pistons game whenever that happens, I guess, next season. So we'll have something to talk about. Here's what The Jump recommends for today. ESPN.com's latest power rankings are out, guys. There's a new number one, the LA Clippers. We'll talk about them next, so check those out. First, though, Black History is happening all the time. In honor of that, here's a look back at Texas